You Can't Stop the Big Bad Bogey by Timothy Knapman and Tom Knight. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a massive dragon ate a bogey. It wasn't any old bogey. It was the Big Bad Bogey, the naughtiest bogey in the world. In the dragon's tummy, the Big Bad Bogey met a good little bogey that the dragon had eaten for breakfast. The good little bogey said,
"Please don't do anything naughty."
but the Big Bad Bogey went bouncing around, tickling and twisting things just to show him, and the Big Bad Bogey sang,
"You can't stop the Big Bad Bogey, the Big Bad Bogey, the Big Bad Bogey. You can't stop the Big Bad Bogey having all the fun in the world."
This gave the dragon a thumping tummy ache, so that she sent both bogies flying out of her mouth in a fiery blurp.
"I asked you nicely,"
yelled the good little bogey as they shot, frazzled and fizzling, through the air.
"Ha ha,"
laughed the Big Bad Bogey, but his bottom was boiling hot, so he splashed down into the ugly duckling's pond, where the ugly duckling had just told everyone that when he grew up he was going to be a beautiful swan. But instead, the Big Bad Bogey squished him flat with a hissing sizzle.
"What are you going to be when you grow up?"
asked the other ducklings.
"Disgusting,"
said the good little bogey.
"Ha ha,"
laughed the Big Bad Bogey, but he was all wet, so he went bouncing over to Rapunzel's tower.
"Don't you dare dry yourself on her lovely hair,"
warned the good little bogey.
"Ha ha,"
laughed the Big Bad Bogey, and he grabbed the good little bogey, and they both went sliding down it.
"Hey, handsome prince, aren't you going to climb up my hair?"
asked Rapunzel.
"Yuck, not now it's had bogies in it,"
replied the handsome prince with a shudder.
"Look what you've done,"
said the good little bogey, but the Big Bad Bogey just went bouncing over to Snow White's house, where the wicked queen was about to give Snow White the poisoned apple.
"That's not an apple,"
said Snow White.
"No,
snapped the good little bogey.
It's a very naughty bogey."
"A talking bogey? Ah!"
shrieked the wicked queen, and she ran away screaming.
"So who's going to poison me now?"
said Snow White crossly.
"It's a very important part of my story."
The good little bogey grabbed the Big Bad Bogey.
"You're not going to ruin any more stories,"
he said. The Big Bad Bogey tried to struggle free, and the two bogies went rolling and wrestling through the forest. They smashed up the witch's gingerbread house, knocked down the giant beanstalk, and burst into a castle where the Big Bad Bogey grabbed Beast from Beauty and started dancing with him.
"Oi!"
said Beauty.
"Ha ha,"
said the Big Bad Bogey.
"It's not funny. You have been enormously naughty. You have spoiled everything, and you shall feel very ashamed indeed. Don't you know that bogies don't have to be horrible? You could be caring and thoughtful and kind, just like me,"
snapped the good little bogey. That made the Big Bad Bogey think. Maybe if he was caring and thoughtful and kind, the good little bogey would be his friend. Then they could play sweet games together, and eat neatly, and make daisy chains, and sometimes even help old bogies across the street. There was just one problem. The Big Bad Bogey didn't want to, so he jumped up and down singing,
"You can't stop the Big Bad Bogey, the Big Bad Bogey, the Big Bad Bogey. You can't stop the Big Bad Bogey having all the fun in the world."
Then he bounced off to have billions more horrible adventures, because nothing could stop the Big Bad Bogey. Well, nothing except being sat on by a big bad bottom.